It's taking over, which is why people are starting to look so crazy today. And everybody's starting to look the same, and filters are out of control. It's like we can't even keep up with it. You know, if you see the Kardashians in their photos, don't get me wrong, they look absolutely stunning in their photos, but they can't even keep up with that. Have you ever seen a candid photo? It's like, wait. So then they'll go to these doctors or these aesthetic people and they'll say, make it bigger, make it this, because you're chasing a thing and never addressing what would actually illuminate the beauty. And so now we're so distorted. I mean, and then imagine you start this game in your early 20s or something when you clearly don't need that stuff. What are you gonna do? You start to look like a lion, you know, and who's helping you?
Maybe a cougar.
Touche. And why is this becoming normal? And that's why I feel like I've sent people to her, and I'm telling you, it's unbelievable what can happen when you actually illuminate something inside of you. And yes, polish your penny. I think that's important. We get our hair done, we do things we love to, but it's all about the balance. And she's a genius in this craft because of how she sees it. There's a rite of passage. It takes wild courage.
Yes.
Wild.
So as far as skincare goes, water is important, right?
Absolutely.
Water good, alcohol bad.
The most overlooked and the cheapest anti-aging ingredient is water.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
No kidding.
I'm going to sidetrack this for a second because just to go with what you're saying, because we've been talking about psychedelics. I did this journey once, and it was one of the most memorable mushroom journeys, psilocybin journeys. And in the end of the journey, there was 2 cups of water sitting on the counter, and I'm in the living room. To this day, I've never experienced anything of the sorts. And it's kind of a distance from me, these waters, which we're going to drink. And I see these sparkly little, as if like a fairy had sparkles, right? And I see it accumulating across the room, and I'm watching this. Mind you, this is our end of our journey. And they start like sparkling, and I'm following them, and they raise up and they go into each one of the water glasses. And to this day, I was like, what was that about? But I keep getting all these signs that something about the water, and beyond just drinking the water mindlessly, you can correct me if I'm wrong here. Mm-hmm. But there's now the studies about how we can put intention in the water and be conscious about drinking the water. And then it actually does like purify.
There's a lot of truth to that. There were actually studies done when students took vessels of water, and some group of people were talking, say, some positive, like very loving, inspirational things. And then people will drink out of this vessel and they actually feel different. They feel more relaxed, they feel engaged. And then there's the other thing that people will actually talk nasty, like really offensive things. And then people experience this water and they feel bad.
You like science? This is
absolutely
science.
Okay.
It's true. The experiment actually was done that.
I want to learn about you, and I want to learn about your whole story and stuff, but I got to get this out real quick since we're like full disclosure on the show, right? We have no secrets for our audience. So we've had meetings over at your home, like production meetings and stuff. Yeah. And the first time I went over to your house, you offered me a glass of water. I think I need a glass of water. And then she goes into this like closet, and it's all very mystical over there. Like it's a vibe. She's got like cool,
everything about her is mystical.
It's very mystical. And then she pours me a glass of water from this. What is it, Alexia? Is it a bucket? Like a fancy bucket? No, it's like a jar.
Filtering system.
Okay. Yeah. But didn't it have like, there's something woo-woo about the water.
I had a Post-it on the water, the gallon of the filtering system. I had a Post-it on it. And I said, I honor you.
Right.
So Billy, coming from a very black and white, he's like,
you're honoring your water?
I just want a glass of water. What is it?
But maybe there's something to that. So obviously you have an accent, and Natalia, and I understand you're from Russia.
I am from Russia.
Should we start with her journey?
Well, actually, I hate talking about myself, so I'm not going to really dwell into this. Okay. I will start with a joke. So when I first immigrated to US in 1999, and my English was terrible, and my accent was really thick, even thicker than it is now. And of course, every single person meeting me, the first question was, where are you from? And at some point, it gets super old. So my answer was from Texas. So I am from Texas.
That's one way to disarm the conversation pretty quickly.
Well, I call her with a very heavy accent. Let's see if Natalya Borakawski, the Russian face genius.
There you go. The face genius. Is that how she markets herself?
I put it on, she's labeled in my phone, the Russian face genius. And what I tell people about it, I'm like, you don't even understand. She's
okay.
Like, the Russian face genius. And in the world of beauty, but there's a depth to your beauty, which is why I like to touch on like who you are, because why do you represent that? And I feel like you've had a journey. When I heard your journey coming here, that's like, this show is called Wild Courage. If you just like speak to that one little part about you coming here, and wild courage is rewarded 100% of the time. And then hence here is Natalya Borakawski. I love to say.
I do love talking about this because a lot of patients coming to me, we have a very emotional journey of going through their beauty transition. And often we have to address things like anxiety, depression, whatever other feelings that people find uncomfortable. And I sometimes do talk about my journey. So the first time I moved, I did not speak English. Honestly, I had like 2 words that I could put together. I could not carry intelligent conversation. And coming from big European city, Moscow, and having a master's degree and thinking of myself as an intelligent person, and all of a sudden being at the level of 2-year-old, not being able to communicate was really disturbing. So I did develop severe agoraphobia, so I could not leave my house. I was afraid of people. Believe it or not, because me right now being such an extrovert, and you're like, what are you talking about? But I remember that fear of not being able to step outside and being so worried to engage and to be part of this new life experience, part of this new country, new language, new culture, everything. And I just got mad. I got mad at my own fears. So exactly as Angela says, when you go and you face your fears, as strange and maybe insignificant those fears could be to someone who don't know you, they're huge to you. But then you go and you look at that fear in the eye and you go through it. And the end of this is, it's freedom. It's a power. And I tell my patients that once you go on the other side, you grow such a strong pair of wings that nobody can ever take it away from you.
That is wild courage. That's awesome. That's an amazing story. And a lot of us, in this country we don't understand about language barriers and about anxiety and things that can come with that. I'm interested because, obviously you're a beauty specialist. We're talking about making people comfortable, but making people look better in their own skin. But the first thing when talking about your clients that you touched on is inside.
Right.
So couple that together, like why is that important to talk to your clients about what's going on inside them when we're really talking about how they look?
Right. Well, what we perceive on the outside, it's really truly a reflection of your inner world. And I know it's such a cliche thing, and a lot of people probably heard it a million times on social media. But the truth is, when you are relaxed, where you're confident with what you are, you look different. You have that glow around you. You have a different posture. It's a different way you engage with people. You look at people differently. You look beautiful for just what you are. I tell it to my teenage daughter. She's 14, and that's the age when you're questioning everything about yourself. You feel like an ugly duckling. You don't fit in. You want to put mascara on. Your lips are too thin. Your hair's frizzled. Whatever the problems are. But all those problems, they come from little inside insecurities. So when we're trying to fix our outsides, you always have to reflect, what am I fixing? Like, what is wrong? Like, why am I feeling uncomfortable? What's there about me that I need to feel like I need to put this mask on? I need to put something to, protect myself from other people's judgment. But in reality, we all know that if you're walking into a room, most people really don't care what you look like. They worry about themselves because they go through the same thing too. They think, what do I look like? Do I have too many wrinkles on my face? Is my hair too frizzled? Is my makeup running? But we all what we are. But if you just kind of relax and understand, we are humans. And we just need to accept each other for what we are. We need to be comfortable with ourselves and then be humbled. I was telling Angela I had the terrible morning today. I stick mascara in my eye and I had black mascara all over my face. And now I'm sitting there. I feel like my eye is dry and I keep blinking like a weird person. But sometimes it's okay to be humbled and just being yourself. Go beyond filters and, cliches and makeups and extensions. And the more you embrace of what you are, the more freedom you have, and then you become more beautiful.
this is why I call her a genius. I mean, she's a master at her craft, and I will absolutely stand by that, because it takes both to be the master at your craft, but it's also the way that she looks at it. So people can come in and chase this thing to try to fix or suppress what is really going on inside of you, which is why I want to bring this up. I mean, it's taking over, which is why people are starting to look so crazy today. And everybody's starting to look the same, and filters are out of control. It's like we can't even keep up with it. You know, if you see the Kardashians in their photos, don't get me wrong, they look absolutely stunning in their photos, but they can't even keep up with that. Have you ever seen a candid photo? It's like, wait, that doesn't even, so then they'll go to these doctors or these aesthetic people, and they'll say, make it bigger, make it this, because you're chasing a thing and never addressing what would actually illuminate the beauty. And so now we're so distorted. I mean, and then imagine you start this game in your early 20s or something, when you clearly don't need that stuff. What are you going to do? You start to look like a lion, you know, and who's helping you?
Maybe a cougar.
Touche.
Depending on which way it goes.
Where's your friends?
Yeah.
And why is this becoming normal? And that's why I feel like I've sent people to her, and I'm telling you, it's unbelievable what can happen when you actually illuminate something inside of you. And yes, polish your penny. I think that's important. We get our hair done, we do things we love to, but it's all about the balance. And she's a genius in this craft because of how she sees it and how she sees you.
Right. So what is the most common procedure let's start with women. When a woman comes into your office, she wants your expertise, and she says, listen, Natalia, I understand all the deep emotional stuff, but I got to do something here with the moneymaker. Right. So is it the lips? Is it the wrinkles? What is it?
Not necessarily. It depends. I feel most people come in off the same bus in groups. So I have days, all I do all day is threads. And then I have days, all I do all day is lips. So I don't know why that happens. It's interesting phenomena. But everybody have their own different anti-aging journey. It always starts with what bothers you. That's my first question. And then I do my analysis and I explain, because very common thing, majority of patients will come in, they'll say, I don't like my nasolabial fold, and I start jowling. And then you start to address that and explain what's happening to your face. You're going through normal aging process. One of the things we cannot reverse, we're losing our bone as we age. So our skull remodels. So that, unfortunately, we did not learn how to grow back. But using aesthetic, non-invasive procedures, we can catch it early, and we can maintain the skin quality. We can address and increase volume in strategic places. So that's what I'm talking about, adding dermal filler. We can do laser treatments by just making the skin more polished, lesions free, you know, so it's very individual journeys. It's very difficult to say we do more of these procedures than the other. For every person, it's always have to be their own journey. And it's also depends on the person, what they're open to. Sometimes you tell them, best way I can fix your jowls, it's to do non-surgical thread lift. And people absolutely terrified. Even I have an idea of putting some kind of absorbable sutures in their face. Oh my gosh, it's going to be so painful. I don't want to do it. It's scary. And that's okay.
Non-surgical thread lift?
Yes.
Walk me through that real quick.
So, fascinating procedure. We use absorbable surgical material that's approved to use for cardiovascular surgeries. So, it's not your typical absorbable suture that goes away in 2 weeks, like we use for minor surgical procedure. Those threads stay in the body for anywhere from 6 months to 2 years, depending on the material. And we use it strategically to glide it under the skin and replace the fat underneath the skin. So, it kind of stays safely between the muscle and the skin. I know it sounds really scary. When you get into the technical nitty-gritty things, it sounds scary, but
that's why she's a genius. It's like, can you believe?
So you sew in?
Yes.
I hear thread. I'm trying to swallow here.
Yeah,
so you're so into the, and I hate that word, the jowls?
Yes.
You're sewing into the jowls, and you're just almost lifting up.
Face, yes.
So how many people are walking around sewed in? I guess we're in Scottsdale. It's probably more than I know.
You would never guess. Because when you actually do the procedure, it looks so natural. All we do, we are moving your own tissue. We're not cutting anything off. We're not adding the volume. We're just lifting the volume where it was a few years ago, like we'll say 10 years ago.
And how long does
remarkable.
How long does it last?
Like the genius and what could be like this preventative maintenance, so that you don't have to wind up where you're doing all these surgeries in your eyelids. Look, that thing. There are the cutting edge procedures that she knows about that most people don't.
I've never heard of that.
Because all they want to do is do filler and get their lips bigger and do these things that actually in the big picture are hurting you, because you're not like getting under, you're sweeping things under the rug, right? And so eventually that blows up in your face, but she can look at somebody and, to her point, see exactly what is your journey. And she has the eyes to recognize that, and what would cause this, like the future you going, thanks, Natalia.
Right?
Yeah.
So a fix instead of a Band-Aid, essentially.
Yes.
So selfish question real quick for the ladies here. Men, right? I'm a man. Do you have male clients? And if so, how does that, I'm a little bit intimidated talking about this. How does that conversation go when a man walks in and says, help me, Natalia?
Differently. There's different reasons why men sit down in my chair. Sometimes conversation goes as such. What bothers you? I don't know why you're here. My wife sent me here. Okay, what bothers your wife? Oh, she doesn't like those deep 11s in my eyes. Okay, we have a fix for that. Different conversation when man comes and has its own journey. He was there because he sees something. Either it's on a Zoom camera, or friend said something, or I don't know, he just having a midlife crisis, if you will. So then we have a different conversation, because at this point he says, I don't like, my face is getting really droopy and saggy, and I look tired, I also look angry. Usually men more so describe the emotions, what they feel about the face, when the women actually more precise, and they say, I don't like this wrinkle, I don't like that wrinkle. And then from then, I explained different procedures, and I said, I can fix this way, let me know what you're open to.
For men, though, there's also these little tricks of the trade that cause, there's some psychology behind it, because there's just like more appealing, more attractive. It is what it is, like the pronounced jaw. And that's actually, there are ways to create this in a more natural way than like, these surgeries and causing you once again crazy. But there's some psychological aspects, especially because if you are on camera or these types of things, you got to play with that world too. I'm all about the balance, which is why I love Natalia. Because I work with people, and I also like style people, and it's a long story. We'll get into that another time. But I because I like her so much, I have sent men and women to her, and she just there's nothing that she can't do. There's a journey to everything.
Biggest question men always ask me: will you make me look like a girl? I don't want to look like a girl. I want to look rested. I want to look healthy. I want to look attractive, but I do not want to look like a woman. And there's art to that, because exactly like Angela says, there's a geometrical shapes of the face that look more masculine and look more feminine. So we can make females look more masculine by adding volume into the wrong places. And we can make men look more feminine by, again, adding volume to the wrong place to do a wrong procedure. So certainly, and I'm not an artist, for goodness sake, I'm actually terrible at drawing things, but probably I could be a pretty decent sculptor, because I can see where the volume is needed to create the shape that's more appealing for each sex.
Do you feel, you two as women, do you feel that it's socially acceptable for a man to walk down this journey nowadays? I mean, like 15, 20 years ago.
And I honestly think men are taking it to an extreme, like as a woman,
right?
And not just in the world of like going to see somebody like Natalia to tweak this and that. In the world of like filters, or taking longer than we take to do your hair. We as women sense that it feels very feminine to us, but there's a balance for everyone. There's a balance for us. There's a balance for men. But I think men are absolutely in this world. They're way inside of this world.
It's interesting. And I think also as a function of where we live, right, in Scottsdale, I go out sometimes and I see some gentleman that I haven't seen for a couple of years or a year, And I'm like, hey, how you doing? And I'm like, whoa, there's something happening here. I think it's good, but definitely it's not just, new face wash and little extra sleep. It's something, something. My personal thing, and I the same way with like plastic surgery or breast implants or whatever, I feel like as long as you as a human, if it's making you feel better, if it's giving you more self-confidence, then go for it. There's a fine line because we've all seen things where it's like, whoa, now we're there's some sort of a mental issue here where people go too far.
Yeah, right.
But I think as long as it's making you feel better as an individual and giving you a little bit more confidence, then go for it and who cares what others think.
Of course, as long as you stay you, that's the most important thing. When I have patients who's bringing me photo of celebrity and say, I want to look like, I don't know, I want Angelina Jolie lips. To me, it's the biggest red flag. Because the question is, why don't you want your lips? Your lips are wonderful. Let's enhance them. Let maybe fix the symmetry. Let's make them a little larger. But ultimately, we are keeping your shape because your shape is beautiful. There's a reason why you have that shape on your face. I mean, unless the person is born with a cleft palate or some kind of facial deformity that needs to be repaired surgically, I find beauty in every single face. So yes, there are aesthetic proportions. There's certain things we can enhance to make somebody look more attractive, but try to completely radically change somebody's face. I'm so against it. That's what makes us so unique and interesting and gives the charisma. Those little asymmetries, those little imbalances, it just makes a person more sexy, in my opinion.
And to your point, as far as like using that to make you feel better, I think that's one thing. But if you're just using that to feel better, I think it's inevitable that it's going to throw you off eventually. There's other things, and this is why I like the balance of everything. Like we know this factually too. I'll always speak to meditation because you look at these beings, we'll say enlightened beings that, Eckhart Tolle, the dude's like, I don't know, almost 80. Have you seen him? He has no wrinkles on his face. And I don't think, he's
had work.
He has not had work.
Have you seen early Tolle on Oprah, early?
No, he has not had work. I'm telling you, there is no way. Absolutely not. And it's because you got to track some of these. No, listen, you got to track some of these guys that are enlightened today and look at their skin. And here's why. And she's going to back it up with more science than I will.
I 100% agree to that.
She does agree. It's meditation and stillness. A busy mind, this. It messes with our nervous system. It keeps us in a constant state of stress. And imagine on a cellular level, all our cells, I'm going to let you back this up because I don't know what I'm talking about, I'm not nearly like you. Our cells are always rejuvenating themselves. But if we never give it the opportunity, because we're always in a state of stress, and most people don't realize they live their life in a state of stress, like a low level state, and sometimes it goes crazy, but always in stress. So what meditation and stillness does is it lets those cells go into their harmonic state and naturally replenish. And we're in a state of ease. Please validate this if it's true.
100% agree to that. And I'm not going to get into this really boring scientific things, but bottom line, stress hormones are very destructive to the body. They're there for a reason because our stress hormones designed to help our body to run away from the tiger, so running away from immediate danger. But if you're typical American that's stressed about something every single day, you wake up and looking at your social media first thing in the morning and somebody left a nasty comment and you're staying up high, and then you drink caffeine and somebody cuts you off on freeway, and then you get work and the boss yells at you, and that all piles up. The stress hormones inhibit your immune system. They inhibit your sex drive because think, when you're running away from the tiger, who cares if you're going to die of flu tomorrow because you might not survive the tiger. So that's what happens to the immune system. Same thing with your sex drive. Who cares if you're going to have babies tomorrow because you just need to run away from the tiger. But if you're in a constant state of this, it becomes destructive to your tissue, to your body, to everything. And obviously we already established that outside world, it's a reflection of the inside world. When you're constantly stressed out, the dark circles, the skin sagging, skin thinning, wrinkles, it's all follows.
And then people go to somebody like Natalia to cover that up, and they're never addressing the root. And so you're just chasing this thing. And that's what I mean. It just goes way off. And today, the scrolling thing, what we don't realize is, we brought this up on the show before, that causes stress, and you just don't realize what it's doing to the brain. The brain wasn't designed this thing, this thing, this thing, this. We're in a constant state of like stress, but we call it normal. We wouldn't say that's stressful. We would say because today it is.
Right.
So elephant in the room, and I understand you have something to announce today, something very fun for our audience. Elephant in the room. There might be people watching right now saying, you know what, I understand all what Natalia's talking about, et cetera, et cetera. I think I would like to speak with somebody like her. I've never done this before, but I think that there's a conversation to be had there to change some of my appearances. This stuff is very costly. I'm speaking in financial terms.
Yes.
There's a barrier to entry financially. Can you just give me, as someone that knows nothing about this, like, are we talking for some of these procedures hundreds of dollars? Are we talking tens of thousands of dollars? Like, how high does it go if someone walks in your office and says, I want to do X, Y, Z?
Well, that's unfortunate conversation. And the funny thing, in our office, my husband always forbids me to talk about financial or cost of any procedures. He said, don't talk anything about prices. Because if I could give away everything I do for free, I know it sounds really terrible and cliche, but I really would. Because I love seeing my patients glow, like inside and out. When they look better, they feel better. It's such a big change in their lives. And I've been in this business for so long. I've seen my patients to get married, have babies, and to really see their transition, how they aging so beautifully, it's very rewarding to me. But yes, if patients need a lot of correction, the cost could be up to $10,000, if not more. It's not necessarily the lump sum right away. It's almost like buying a car. Yes, you can buy a car for $50,000. Most people don't pay $50,000 cash. They have payments. So same thing about treatment. We have treatment plan. We don't do a lot of things at once. I'm not a plastic surgeon. I don't do surgery. I don't cut the skin off. So I don't have the big tech procedures per se. Usually it's a slow, steady improvements. And obviously the earlier you start, and I usually urge my patients at about late 30s to start their anti-aging journey, then less correction we have to do and more of a preserving treatments we do. And those are not very expensive. Even if you decide to do a facial every month, that alone can make a huge difference in your skin.
Meditation, water.
Yes, meditation, water. Water is free. Yeah. And I just said before we even started this talk, the water is most overlooked, cliche, and yet the most effective anti-aging ingredient in the planet. The water is part of every skin solution we have, any kind of cosmetic product. But drinking it, obviously, it helps your body glow. It helps your body bloom. Yes, please, Billy, drink it. Nobody give me water today.
This is a great segue. This is a great segue because everybody loves a Cinderella story. Am I projecting? Do you love a Cinderella? Everybody, right?
As Americans,
we love a Cinderella story.
We love it.
So Natalia is going to, because she loves to do it so much, we're going to offer up the value of $10,000. We're going to select somebody and let Natalia have her way with them.
Is this considered a makeover? Is this considered a consultation?
We'll call it anti-aging journey. Aging backwards, Billy.
I love it.
Aging back,
anti-aging. That's exactly what it is.
Right.
Yes, and because she's her, they're gonna get, the inside and out. That, she's gonna address the inside and out. So sometimes just the questions has you being contemplation of like, what are you really trying to fix here? Mm. But she, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And let me tell you, her eye of beauty, she might see something that you didn't ever realize was there.
This is a major thing. I mean, you're at the top of your game. You're a professional. So someone's going to come in, have a talk with you about their anti-aging journey. Mm-hmm. And then you're going to come to some agreement as to what type of procedures and
we'll track that journey so that we can show what this is.
This could be a man or a woman.
A man or a woman. Yes. Man or woman.
And we'll talk, we're going to put this all out on social, obviously. Mm-hmm. We'll talk about how we're going to choose that person. Yes.
It'll be a little random.
Okay.
But
assuming nobody at this table is able to enter, nobody else in this room,
behind the camera.
Alexia, me. That's awesome. It's very gracious of you to do, and I think our audience is going to have some fun with this.
Yes, and Natalia will be a regular because of what she stands for, And I feel like people need this kind of conversation more than what's been happening today. It balances it off. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
And the other thing is we see this out in the world. We see people getting these procedures and all this, but we don't always talk about it.
No. Right. Yeah.
Like we can recognize it, but it's okay to just have like an open conversation. Okay, what's really going on?
Right. And I always like to point to like the Kardashians. They make it seem like we woke up like this.
Yeah.
Like, give me a break.
Yeah,
I know your butt wasn't like that before. I saw your butt before.
Right.
That is not your butt.
Right. You know what's funny? Someone told me this, someone that's in your line of work on the more of the plastic surgery side. He told me that you would think like during COVID, a lot of businesses fell, but he told me his business like 10x because everybody was seeing their image on Zoom. And they're like, oh, is that real? Oh, God, is that really what I look like? And then they had to, as opposed to like in person, now they're on Zoom meetings and everyone's doing lighting and better cameras. Oh crap, is that really what I look like? And then they go to talk to someone.
Yes, we all experience a crazy Zoom boom, I call it 2020. Also, I think because unfortunately most people were not able to travel, so people had extra money to spend. So we had a lot of people come in, oh, now I have whatever amount of money sitting on my account and now I want to fix this. So again, speaking of financial decisions, people just chose differently to allocate the money because they did not travel.
Real quick, could someone come into your office and just have a discussion with you, like a consultation?
Absolutely. Consultation is always free. So we're always upgrading our consultation experience. Right now, I'm actually super excited about this. I got this really cool screen, and it's a touch screen. So now I can bring out my patient's photo on the screen and really show them what I see and why, and explain what each procedure can potentially do. And I have a computer program that I can create sort of potential vision of what their face will look like. So giving people more of a visual of what they're looking for.
I'm going to come in and do that. I'd be interested.
That's so great. Maybe we could get that on film and so that we can share some of these experiences with people.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming in.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yes. We learned a lot about you, even though you supposedly don't talk about yourself.
I try not.
Thanks for coming in.
Nice
to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Cheers.
Thank you, guys.
Hey everyone, we're at the Pad Lab studio in Scottsdale, your go-to for real estate and mortgages. Whether you're buying, selling, or need financing, trust their 2 decades of expertise. Visit padlabaz.com to kickstart your journey. And if you're a pro seeking a dynamic team, check out padlabcareers.com. Let's make moves with Pad Lab.